This video is not going to have any editing because I do not know how to edit things well. So the song, Willows song, it's just in standard, so pretty simple. Now the hardest part, apart from some of the chords, but I tried to keep them all fairly simple, is the finger pattern if you choose to do that. So it goes thumb, index, ring, thumb, index, ring, thumb, ring finger, thumb, index, ring, thumb, index, ring. And then it pretty much just repeats. So thumb, index, ring, thumb, ring finger, thumb, index, ring, thumb, index, ring, thumb, ring finger, thumb, index, ring. So literally. And that's pretty much it. That's the whole vibe. But with some of the chord changes, you do change the position of it, and sometimes the thumb changes string. So I'll just go through the whole song slowly, so if you need, like, if you ever get confused on anything, you can come back to this. So the first chord shape is index finger on the B string, I think, the second highest, so right there. Then it's middle finger on the string above, so the G string, second fret, and then ring finger on the third string. We'll just go with this. So, and then you're just doing this, the pattern on the top four strings. So and that's it. And then you keep your index finger there, but you move both your middle and your ring finger up a string, so they look like that. And then you change the finger pattern from the top four, you move them all down one, so now you're now playing the middle four strings, and that goes. And then the next chord is one of the harder chord changes. If it's a big problem, we can either, like, I don't know, record a different take individually, or we'll change the chord. But you can bar it, but I choose not to because bar chords suck. I play it middle finger on the second highest string, index finger on the low E, first fret, so those two are on the first fret. Then you use your ring and pinky and you put them on the middle two on the second fret. And your thumb is on the low E, and your index, middle, and ring are on the three strings that you have your fingers on. So the second string does not get played during this bit, and that goes. And then this chord's probably the easiest, it's a G. You can choose to either go from this chord and just move your finger up to the third fret, but I choose to play it with my middle finger because it makes the computer turned off. It makes the next chord change a lot easier. And I think it's necessary for if you want to play the hammer-ons and the pull-offs. But we're just going to go through the simple one. I'm going to go through the full song. So, middle finger on the 3rd fret. And it has the same finger pattern as the previous one. You don't need to change strings. Then this next chord, index finger on the 2nd highest string, 1st fret, middle finger on the 3rd string on the 2nd fret, and I use the pinky on the 3rd string, on the 6th string on the 3rd fret, and you're just plucking the top 3 again. And then you take your pinky off and you put your ring finger just under your middle finger, so it's on the 4th string, and you're playing A minor, and it's the same top 4 string finger style. And then you're removing your middle finger and you're putting it just below the index, so you're playing the top 2 strings on the 1st fret. And then you remove everything but your middle finger. And that's the most simple way to play the song, unless you do chords. Now for the hammer-ons. The song is pretty much the same. Also, the song just repeats into itself over and over again, so maybe play it like 4 times or something. And I think the tempo that I went with is something like... So for the harder version, these are all the same until the G chord, where you have your middle finger here. What you're going to do, or at least what I've written, is the second time you play the ring finger, you're going to hammer on the index. So, onto the 5th string. So, right? And you just keep playing the rest of that bit. So, and then the reason I like that is because now your index finger is already there for the next chord, so you just put your fingers there for the next chord, and then for this version you're gonna pull off the pinky on the second one, so and then you put next chord. This chord is this one's weird for what I've written, but what I do is on the second time you use your ring finger, I bar the bottom 2 with my index. So it goes, right? And then from that, you just remove, it makes it slightly different. So you go, and then you remove your middle finger. And then for the final chord, this little singular note, on the second one you do the same thing as everything else and you just pull it off. So and that's pretty much the whole song. It just repeats. I don't know if we will, but if we choose to maybe chords as well. Um, something simple, just like. It's up to you. That's pretty much it. Any questions I can help answer? There is some things that you can do. So when you're playing the simple one, you can kind of imitate some of the pull-offs by just doing what would be there. So like, for example, with the G, if we're playing the simple one, instead of doing the, you can go and just put it on preemptively to get that note. So, and then this chord you would do. You would go. And then you just pull off. So that's a simpler version. I guess I'll just play it all the way through. The way I think it sounds best is if you play the simple version and then play the harder version, and then you can kind of switch between, maybe play the simple harder version that I just played, because you don't want to overdo any bit, but it kind of feels like the hammer-on is kind of a melody. So let's just go through the whole song and I'll just play it as well as I can. And then you can go to the simpler version, so, but with the weird bits. Oh. Oh, no. And then, I don't know, maybe go back to the original version, so, or back to the harder version. Maybe sometimes play the harder version twice. It's entirely up to you. But I think it should, I don't know. That's pretty much it. I can work a lot easier with as many takes as possible. But don't stress about it too much, because it's actually like not that much of an issue. Cool. That's pretty much it. Ask any questions. This has been way too long of a video, but hell yeah.